Hello, this time I want to talk about robots. We all know what robots are, or at least we think we know. But there's a huge range in robots, from machines that are just automated, they automate things, to machines that are autonomous. And in between there's a whole continuum, a whole range of things that are a little bit automated and a little bit autonomous. We naturally think of the autonomous robots like 3PO and Star Wars as where we're headed. But most of the robots in the world will be mostly automated. They'll just be doing processes smartly, but they won't have that much autonomy. The autonomy that we most associate with robots in the ideal version is one that can walk around by themselves. They have their own mobility, their autonomy to go where they want to go, to say what they want to say. I think that kind of a robot is very, very, very far away. The main hurdle is actually not its intelligence, but its energy, its power. The human body is an incredibly highly evolved machine that runs on very little energy. Our own brains operate on less energy than a light bulb. There's no computer in the world that can come close to performing like our brains do with so little energy. And our own bodies are basically about a quarter horsepower. It's a very, very small engine that runs our bodies, that allows us to run all day. And there's no machine that we've made that can do things like walk stairs or walk around that is not many, many, many horsepower and requires a huge amount of energy. So we simply don't know how to do a truly autonomous mobile robot that works all day long on very little energy. Most of our robots are probably going to be like cars, very large things that will be large because they have to carry that energy in terms of batteries or gasoline, which will be very expensive for them to run all day. So that's why we're seeing kind of the first robots as cars, because they are massive enough and simple enough that they can be somewhat autonomous. But the idea of having human size or even pet size autonomous robots that can run all day is a long way off. We are certainly going to have pet-size robots, but they aren't going to be very autonomous. They're going to be more automated in that sense. So, in that range between automatic and autonomous, we can expect many, many species of robots. This is something I want to emphasize. There'll be many varieties, and almost all of them will be specialized. They are going to be made to do particular processes. Again, they aren't going to be these general walk around, do anything, help us anytime we need help. They're going to be very engineered for particular specific jobs or tasks. So, most of those tasks that robots are going to be doing are tasks that humans don't want to do. That's usually the first step. We find some job that we are now doing as humans, and we automate it to get rid of the humans, to have machines do it. And all the ones that were easy to do, like mining coal or digging trenches, we don't need much intelligence to put into the machines to have them do it, or they can have a human operator. And so we will continue to automate those jobs by adding AI to the machines to do very, very narrow jobs. And so a lot of the robots today are just arms. They're smart arms. They're arms that do things in welding in a car factory, or picking produce as it goes by in a factory. And we'll continue to do that even more by adding more arms and more brains. So we can take a job that humans don't want to do, like weeding on a farm, and we'll begin to make robots that do that. And they will be able to do it, not just what humans did, but they'll probably be able to do it even better than humans. So by using eyes on the little robot that is on wheels going down the row of weeding some lettuce, the robot's vision can be more accurate than a human vision. And more importantly, the robot can remember every single individual plant, something that a human can't do. So its ability to weed will be better than humans. But it can't do anything else. It can't have a conversation. It can't decide to fertilize the plants, beyond what it can do. It can't harvest the plants. It's only built to weed. Okay, and it will weed better than a human will weed. That is the kind of machines that we're going to be making. We're going to find some job, maybe it's flipping hamburgers, making hamburgers, and there'll be a robot that will make hamburgers better, quicker than a human, but it won't be able to cook spaghetti. It's going to only do one thing. Maybe someday we'll have a robot that could do cooking, lots of different kind of cookings, but it won't be able to have a conversation, it won't be able to play soccer. So we're going to make these very, very specific species of robots, more and more of them, that have various degrees of automation versus autonomy. Of course, these robots, as we make them, will want to be as mobile as we can make them, but the really difficult thing is keeping them running all the time. Very few robots made today run more than a few hours at a time, maybe 8 hours at the most. And then they have to sleep, they have to be taken down, they have to be repaired. It's the human body, the human animal body is a phenomenal engine and machine that's able to repair itself, to go all day long, keep cool, find fuel and re-energize itself. Something that our machines are just incapable of doing at all right now. So I just want to nix the dream or the fantasy of mobile robots walking around serving us as something far, far, far in the future. One of the things we should expect, though, is that these machines will, as much as possible, be engineered and be created to be as human as we can make them, even though they aren't. Even though they run better on wheels, we will tend to make them, if we have to interact with them, at our scale. Because as humans, we interact better with things that are at our scale, that are at our eye level, that can understand our voices, where we can see them and understand their responses. So in the design of robots, people are paying a lot of attention to how we understand them, and so they are going to be made as much as possible to look like humans, not because they need to, in terms of their activities, in terms of their jobs, but because we need them to. So for instance, when somebody is walking down the street or even driving a car, we can kind of tell which way they're going to turn, not just with their blinkers, but where they're looking out the window, where they're leaning, whether they drift to one side or another. And so we have to have our machines kind of mirror that. We want to be able to kind of look at a machine, a robot, and kind of tell which way it's going to go. So it needs to give us signals somehow earlier, just indicating where it's going to move to. So sometimes maybe there's a little bit like ears or eyes that may just drift a little bit to one side. So even though the robot doesn't really need eyeballs, eyeballs are actually signals that tell us where it's going to go. So when you're seeing someone, you're looking at their eyes, and their eyes are telling you where they're going. And so we're going to give our robots lots of the appendages of a human, eyeballs, ears, noses, and things like that, not because they need them, but because we need them. Okay, so they're going to look like us as much as possible because we interact and we understand them better when they're at our scale and reflect some of our own interface or our own way of dealing with the world. And another job, I think, for the robots is going to be entertainment. I think that robots dancing, robots fighting each other is going to be something that's going to be very appealing to humans. We pay money to see human ballet dancers perform feats that are just amazing to us. But we can kind of imagine robot dancers doing things, acrobatics, gymnast-like performances that are graceful in a way that will shock us and maybe delight us. There's a factory here in California where they have robot arms, and they test them every morning. They kind of synchronize them every morning. They go through a period where they're waving their arms back and forth in synchrony. And it's a beautiful sight. It's just lovely. And that's just something that's been done to get them going in the morning as a kind of installation procedure. Imagine if we have full creativity, we can have machines dance, perform in ways that we would find riveting. And I think on the other side, whereas we abhor violence to humans, we don't mind violence to other machines, and I think the idea of battle bots, of machines fighting each other, will continue to grow. And as they become more autonomous and more surprising, that even that aspect of esports will take on something where we have teams of players that are robots playing against each other. And that, I think, will also be some way in which we will be entertained by robots. So those robots, again, are going to be specially engineered just for that job. That's all they will do. Like all our robots, they will be specialists. They will not be generalists. Generalists is very difficult to do, very long in coming. Powering it is a huge challenge. Keeping them flexible is really, really difficult. There is some fantasy that we can make some kind of AI robot that is superior to human in all dimensions. That's just technically, engineeringly impossible. We cannot make a machine that excels humans in all dimensions. You can make a machine that can run faster than the human. You can make a machine that could jump higher. You can make a machine that could crawl lower, but you can't make a machine that does all those things at the same time, because there's an engineering trade-off. So in addition to us being fairly powerful, we're incredibly flexible. We don't know how to make a flexible, powerful machine. Those two things are normally not what we optimize. So the point is that there's no reason to try to make a machine totally like us, flexible, strong, fast, long duration, low powered, because we can make more of us very easily. Most of the things that we will make, most of the robots will be different from us in many, many ways. They will be better than us in certain narrow ways, but they're going to be different from us overall. And that is their benefit, is that they are different from us. That's why we're making them. So the robots in the world that we will see will all be alien to us. There will be alien pets, alien beings, alien bots, alien machines. They won't be like us, but they will, as much as possible, try to conform to our ways of conversation because we are most comfortable like that. So they were kind of like fake being humans, because it's easy to converse with us if a fake being human, but they won't be in any way. So robots are coming. It's really good. They're going to help us. They will make us better humans. There's no need to fear them, and all need to welcome them. So that's what I think about robots.